Okay, I should share my screen. Can you see the screen?
Not yet.
Oh.
Yes.
It's coming up now.
I can see it.
I can see it. Okay, it's actually presentation. We have a couple of verticals. We have utility billing and loan management. It's loan servicing. For you, we have prepared today loan servicing, but you will be interested in utility billing. It's also not an issue. So, a couple of words: who we are and what we do. We are actually system integrators and working with Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. It was previously known as Navision, and we're working with this platform already more than 10 years. I can't remember, maybe even more than 15 actually. Sorry, phone is ringing. Okay, so. Yeah, we started the company about 2008. So base company was called Navex. It's still operating, but it's mostly used for local customers, and for worldwide we presenting ourselves as SkyBill. It's we're offering software as service in cloud. It's more available worldwide. The licensing options, there are two options: is one on premises and one is on the cloud. On the cloud, it's more affordable. Its price is a bit lower, and it's paying per month, and you can get it actually in half an hour. We are also ISO certified. Two certificates: 9,000 and 27,000. 9,000 about doing things right way, and 27,000 is about working with information. So in a couple of words. So most of our projects lately are actually aboard, and then, as I already mentioned, we have two verticals: one utility billing and another is loan servicing. So, and all connected with that also web portals and different .NET projects and customer self-service portals, etc. One of them will be also mentioned today by Roland for loan servicing solution. So, okay, if you have any questions regarding company or about us, don't hesitate to ask. We'll answer them. Actually, we'll be also in South Africa after 2 months, participating in an exhibition in Cape Town.
Okay.
Together with our local partners regarding utility billing. Okay, Roland, you can take screen.
Yes, I will share my screen. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Here we are. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
At least I can. So I hope others also can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Very nice. Okay. So I will show you this SkyLoan solution. It is a solution for managing loans of the customers, meant for the companies which issue these loans to the customers, later manage them and make all the accounting part. The solution is based on Business Central, has two parts. One part is a front end for the brokers or salespersons. It is more interesting part, I would say, because it's a totally new concept and doesn't exist in other adoptions or add-ins for similar businesses, maybe based on Business Central or other ERP systems. I will show this. And the backend or back office system, which is based on Business Central and use actually a full ERP, because the licensing doesn't matter. You have all functionality out of the box. It is paid by user. But initially we configure only the part related to the loan or contract management, and all other parts of the ERP system is optional. If you want, you can implement the whole accounting and other modules and CRM and so on. When you start to use this service, you have an account in a special SkyBill portal. Here you select your solution. In our case, we have selected this SkyLoan solution. You receive on your email a connection to your cloud installation, let's say. Yeah, you have links in your dashboard. Yeah, you can run this system as a web client, as a lightweight Windows client, and also a special link for Bronet. You receive it. Yeah, Bronet is a portal for brokers. And then you can manage your users. As I told, the licensing, as it is in standard cloud-based Business Central licensing, it is by users. You have one user by default automatically created for you when you first open the system. And okay, other things. And then you have these two parts. No, let's start with this Broadnet part. I think it's most interesting. Yeah, you can imagine it as a, for example, a store or shop, or for example, in our region, second-hand car shops uses this portal to provide to their customers your loan service or financing. For example, they are selling their services or goods, and as a financing option for their clients, they provide your solution, and therefore you give them a front end. It is a special web-based front end. They have a computer on their store, their shop, where they can interact with the customers. And let's say in the case customer wants to use your financing option, they can make proposals and later track their contracts and so on. The one part here is a schedule generator. You can create a schedule for your potential customer to see how it will go, how it will be, let's say, looking. For example, you have a customer who wants financing a small loan. Okay, I have some examples. Okay, we can actually put some other accounts, and you can generate some proposals, and customer may think about this proposal and choose if he wants to go with this or no. And if he chooses to accept your proposal, you can immediately create an application. The application we call like offer or pro forma contract, where you provide some details, and it comes directly to your back office. Yeah, this is your broker. Normally, it is not a part of your company. He's only providing your services in the shop. And later you will see all this information as a potential contract in your system. And if you agree on the conditions and the risk is, let's say, acceptable, you accept this contract, and later this broker will receive back information about acceptance, and then you can later sign the contract with the final customer and give the money, send out the money, let's say this way. Okay. Okay, I will create something new to see. There are some mandatory fields which must be fulfilled because your due diligence later will use it to evaluate. Okay, let's take a look.
This is not loan servicing system itself. This is just a web form for required for loans, let's say, or
yeah, exactly.
And this part doesn't require also a full license. This is different licensing. This costs a couple of euro per month. So we have clients who have about 1,500 brokers in the network.
Yeah.
So this is just one of the options how you can apply for a loan.
Yeah. Later I will show you. I will show you other part, or the most important part, which is this back office where you deal with all the contracts. Okay, I will put some data now.
Also, those mandatory fields are determined by yourself. What are mandatory and what are not mandatory. It's if you don't care about what salary they have, you can set it that it's not mandatory field. But some fields, of course, are needed, as you need at least some first name or surname to whom issue loan or something. Maybe percentage or what the amount.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I have filled. Yeah, you can see by this red asterisk, it's shown the parts of the application. These are like different parts of the application, and these parts have some mandatory fields inside.
Can we hide them? So let's say, for example, we only need three of those fields on the left-hand side, or 3 parts. Can we hide it so that they don't see?
Yes, it's possible to hide and need it as well. It's possible to customize this page.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I will send it now as it is, and now we see that this application is in first status in process, and we can confirm it here. Confirmation. It's like not a confirmation from our side. It's more like the broker confirms that the application has been finished, to avoid situations when you upload some unfinished data, because, for example, you need to provide some copies of the documents, and then for example, it may take time to find them or and so on. So you can also send some messages from the broker. And you can imagine it's a broker somewhere maybe in other city, in other country, maybe not, because the taxes and everything must be configured. Okay, so we are ready with the application, sending some documents, sending some information, and we confirm it from our side. So, and it is now in process. So now in the back office system, you will receive the lightweight client. You will install it directly from this SkyBill portal. I have already opened this lightweight client. It is configured for managing the contracts, and the person who is responsible for managing the applications, he will receive all these incoming web application, a special web application list. I can see this new contract from today. I can open it and start processing from our side. And from our side, actually, we need only to change the status after doing the due diligence. Do we accept or we do not accept, or we need some additional information or additional bailsman who will, let's say, warranty some more funds or something like this, or change conditions.
We can also change loan amount if we agree to give less. Let's say they're requesting 10,000, we can give them just 5,000 as the salary is too low, or some additional conditions are not meeting requirements.
Yeah, you can tell that you want more first payment. Now it gives you that it's initial payment. Maybe first payment is not a correct word here. It's a contribution. Yeah, it's a contribution from customer side, and then of course payment schedule will have the first payment as a payment schedule, but it's like a contribution from the customer side. You want tells that you want more contribution from customer side, and actually you don't agree to do it this way, you can change it. I think so, actually.
Actually, all those names of fields are changeable as well.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal. It's
And
question
yeah, and additionally, you can see in the comments part, you can see these comments sent by your and also there are some documents, you can download them and open and check also from your back office system. Okay, now you have accepted this okay, this contract with some changes in it, and actually that's it. I don't see anything, and you can create a contract. But as you see, let's take a look. How does it look here? And you can see that here in the loan application page on this broker window, you can see that the status has been changed for your application to forward. It means accepted. So the person can, of course, I did it in an easy way. Of course, you have to communicate back about all the changes and so on. But let's do it in an easy way. And that's it. Now you can take over all the legal parts, creating the contract you need with your end customer. Okay, and later you start your tasks here. First thing, the customer has to be like a debtor in your system, in your ERP system, and first part is to create a debtor. Yeah, the system tells you that this new person has been created. Actually, if you know that this person exists or you don't know, you may search all your customer database before you create a new one. Yeah, it's a standard list of companies and persons of Dynamics 365. And okay, in this case, I didn't search. I created immediately a new contact. The system created a card of this customer and assigned this customer to my application in this moment. And the next step, if this application has been accepted, you create a contract. Yeah, this is the next step. Okay, you have not provided a registration number correctly for this contact, and it makes you, it throws a small, let's say, message that it is risky to create a customer without all the information. Okay, but I want to search now all these fields. Actually, that registration number is inside, so it must be okay. And create contract. This is a button. Okay. Okay, so and system creates debtor in this step. Actually, yeah. Initially, it's only a contact person who is a potential customer, and later the system creates a debtor. Yes, there are like two levels or three levels if you want. One is this broker application, Bronet, is a potential customers, and web applications come in your system, and they do not go directly to your contract list or customer list. They are in a special preliminary list, if you want to call it this way, like a buffer, where you have all the contacts and all the web applications, but they are not accepted yet. And when you accept everything, you get the final list, which is a contract list. Okay, and in the contract list, the system told you this new contract number. Yeah, it is a finance lease or finance loan contract. And now this contract starts its life cycle. Yeah. What's important here? Of course, you regenerate the payment schedule for the contract, but all the conditions are here. One thing, yeah, what didn't appear immediately in the Bronet, it's a commission. You can ask some percentage. System took this percentage from the configuration, from the basic tariff configuration, where you can define some. There's a special matrix where you can define your default values. Took some percentage of commission. You can, let's say, at the final part of your negotiation process with the customer, ask for more commission. For example, you can change this commission amount. It's your, let's say, revenue, your profit above the loan amount. And annual interest rate. Yeah, the system can, also from this configuration matrix, provide some default value, and you can agree on another percentage. And you create a payment schedule, the final payment schedule. And yeah, the mandatory field is a billing group. It will be recurring process. You will run a billing in the loan system, let's say 3 times per month or each day as you want. And the system will issue the loan invoices to the customers and actually will post your revenue. Yeah, to start the posting revenues and everything, you have to decide also the date when you want to post it. Let's say I will put it starting in March. Or, okay, I don't care. Let's put today. And billing group, well, the first loan will be issued. The first loans invoice will be issued. Yeah, and in this case, I put that I will run the billing on the first date of each month. And the payment date will be 10th. It means that you will create an invoice with a date of first day of the month, and the due date of this invoice will be 10th of the month. These are 2 fields for the billing process. And now you can create a payment schedule, and system creates you a payment schedule this way. There you can see that you have a due date as a 10th of each month. Then you have a posting date, which will be the invoice posting date for each month, and that's it. And your commission is split equally, and it is your additional revenue, let's say. You will recognize it together with revenue from interest for each payment. Actually, that's it. We have our payment schedule. There are some options you can change in the payment schedule. That's interesting. No, actually, our customers have different adjustments, but here in the web solution, which is a cloud solution, we kept only the most secure and most known functions available to avoid any problems later. Because, for example, interest amount, you cannot touch interest amount. Interest amount always is calculated according to the interest rate. But for example, you can change the due date. For example, the customer asks you to give him a little bit time to make the first payment. Yeah, you can do this way. The system recalculates all things later, all lines below the line you change. So you have to implement all the changes step by step. in a timely order. So now you see that, for example, interest amount is bigger because the system calculates days from the posting date, which means the day you send the money to the customer. And for example, the customer wants also some changes later. He wants, for example, the second payment on another month, so you can do this way. Then maybe the customer wants not to pay the principal amount, the first two. As I told you, you have to implement the changes step by step. You cannot change the second line and then first line. For example, customer may ask you to skip the principal amount. And in this case, you have a very strange payment schedule now. Because the first invoice will be issued in March, but with the payment date April. If you do not want to include this invoice in the March billing, you of course change also this date, which would be in this case, I think, more correct. So, and as I told, we have to change things line by line. And for example, now we have a payment schedule, which will be taken into account in our billing process only in April and June, and then later everything is okay. And if you have some flexible interest rate, you can change it each month, for example, and you can agree on a different interest rate, or you can run a special process. It's not automated here because it depends from your interface. In Europe, we use special indexes like Euribor, which can be taken as a basis for calculation of interest, or you can change it each 3 months. It depends. Yeah, and the system recalculates the interest and everything. So you have this payment schedule. Yeah, the system has some tools you can use to show this payment schedule in a special design. Okay, maybe it's not the coolest design, but okay.
But those are also changeable, and usually each client requires their own forms and logos and colors and other stuff. So it's just for demo purposes, something to show.
Yeah, then the next step is to give money. So you have to send the money to your customer, and therefore the first function here in the contract, you have create payout line. You select this option. System creates a journal entry in your bank journal, and here we are taking from our bank account and putting into the loan portfolio account this base amount we are financing. Actually, there are also options to send it directly to your broker or to the partner who is selling the goods. It means in this case, this person do not receive anything, or customer do not receive any money directly. He only receives this let's say, this car or this service or good bought by your broker. But it's only a bank transaction. Who is recipient in this case? If you want to send it to partners, the contract has also this partner information. Additionally to the financing amount, you also put accruals for future revenues for your commission amount. Yeah, in this case, you made a commission of 10%. So, yeah, and this is actually a bank payment. Of course, you can send out and integrate it to your local bank systems. Yeah, as I thought, there are different also standard integrations possible. Yeah, the standard Business Central integrates with banks But again, it is in each country, in each region, very different. So it must be configured in each project in a special way. So
Yeah, from our experience, it differs within one country between banks.
Yeah,
Even the same format looks a bit different sometimes. So it's
the implementation of standards differs in each bank actually. So there are only the standards are only like templates, and banks later treat them as they want, and there are always fine tuning. Okay, so we have issued money. The customer has now money in his pocket, and that's it actually. And we are waiting for the next month of billing. In our case, it will be April. Yeah, because our payment schedule will be treated by the posting date next time. In April, it will create an invoice when we will run this billing process. And okay, nothing has been paid yet. Okay, and let's run billing to see how it works. So the next step is run billing. No, okay, if you want to see some more details, maybe there are some screens where you can see. Okay, let's run billing, and then we will see. And billing is a process. You can schedule it in a special schedule a task module if you want for all these days. I will run it manually. You can run it for all contracts at the same time. I will run it only for one contract, which is contract FL10, our test customer. And
so you see there are a lot of filters, so you can add any filters what you want and get there's some group of clients or some group by regions, by amounts, by whatever actually you want them to group.
Yeah, normally we group by this billing group to not post the invoices we don't want to post today. Yes, so therefore all your contracts has this billing group assigned. So for example, you have 3 payment days normally with your customers, I don't know, 10th, 15th, and 25th. So you issue invoices 10 days before. So you run this billing 10 days before, 3 times per month, and schedule it. No, later, of course, we will post automatically all the invoices, and then later you can send them by email to the customers and so on. Some customers do not send any invoices. They make agreements immediately that the payment schedule is a like payment like an invoice, like a payment justifier for the customer, and they put in the contract the customer has to pay according to the schedule. But if there is a changing contracts, and in this as you see, the system is very flexible, you can negotiate all the conditions after each month if you want. So this means this initial schedule after some time won't be the same, so you have to reflect these changes somehow, and therefore maybe issuing an invoice each month, it's a safer way. And also from the revenue recognition point of view, this is a very clear point when you recognize that this say loan revenue from interest revenue in this case on your also commission revenue is posted as a revenue from accounting point of view. Okay, let's run it. I'm running without posting the invoices. It means it will create the invoice projects. Okay, I see that in April, in these conditions, I have 1 invoice for this contract, and now in the invoice list there must be some new invoices. Yeah, I see 1 new invoice with April's posting date, and 10th of April is the due date. The most important part is here, these 2 lines. You see that we agreed with customers that we won't charge any principal amount, so there is no principal, only interest. Yeah, and normally we do not apply tax on this type of services. If you want some special service, yeah, some customers asked us, you can create a manual invoice to this customer for whatever what service do you want. You can also change. If you do not post automatically, you can add some special services here in this invoice. And when you are, let's say, happy, we can post it, and that's it. Yeah, the system tells you that the invoice has been posted, and you can open it and see the posted invoice. And again, you can email it immediately to the customer. Okay, I will make a preview, and you can define different layouts. And in this SkyBill Loan solution, if you use it out of the box, the default layout is one Word layout. It is like it comes out like a Word document. If you send it by email, it will be like a Word document attached to the email. And this is an invoice the customer will receive. Of course, you can change all layout colors and the fields also, and everything you want. Yeah, these are the requisites where the payment from the customer has to be sent. It's your bank account, and that's it. It's a simple, clean way. Okay, this is our posted invoice. And all this history later is available in the system. One thing, of course, is in the contract part. You have a special tracking page where you can see the status of your payment schedule. You can see that you have already posted interest for the first and without anything, and you haven't received any payment yet. And of course, from the customer point of view, if you go to your customers, which are debtors of your company, let's find our customer. You can see that this customer has some debt. And the important thing, which is not part of any standard Business Central, it's a special thing, and it's most important added value of this loan solution, excuse me, is this special tracking of different amount types, which are important in loan business, like interest and principal. These are two basic parts they always want to track. Also other, like commissions, and everywhere is also available contract information. So it gives you a possibility to use, I don't know, Power BI or any analytic tools connected to your database, and you will have always in customer ledger and also in the general ledger all the information about types of your amounts and contract information. So it means you, for example, can create later special analysis about paid interest, paid principal, remaining unpaid principal interest by customer, by contract, by date, and so on, so on. This is the most important change, let's say. And one also big and important change is that the sales invoices you created, these lines, each line creates a different customer ledger entry. It's very important. Yeah, the standard system doesn't do this way. Yeah, it is for tracking principal and interest amount separately. If you post one invoice with different lines, customer will have two different also lines in his history. It's not one invoice, it's like two customer ledger entries with different types. And also general ledger, of course, from the accounting point of view. If you have access to your accounts, you can see this split by different interests are posted in a special account. They won't be in the same account, but you also have a contract information and everything assigned in the general ledger entry. Of course, the idea of this module is not to implement the full accounting. The idea is that you later use reports, or maybe you can also think about some interface. You extract this data and put later in your real accounting. Yeah, or from customer ledger or from general ledger. Yeah. And from customer ledger, you can use a special report if you want, like because there are many different reports, like the standard one at the end of April. I have to take also initial date. Let's take some bigger period. You can do it also this way. System. Okay, there are no periods defined. And let's put some filter, and you may get whatever. This is, in this case, this is by customers. You have, let's say, turnover at the beginning, net change in the period. Okay, it shows also net change during the year to date, and the ending balance. One simple report. Of course, tracking the debtors, you need a special tools, and normally we use summary aging or reports which shows liabilities, not liabilities, but in this case debts by periods. You define your length of your periods. In this case, I define that, for example, I want to see the current balance backwards, how it looks from let's say month by month. No, something like this. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, of course, I can show you the payment registration. It would be the next step. Payments and okay, earned revenue commission. Commission is recognized with a special process. It's maybe, but I would like to ask you, maybe you have some questions, because I lost a little bit the situation. How do you feel, and do you have any questions?
Yes, so a couple of questions.
Yes.
One is I mean, at this point, a lot of our contracts are fixed interest rate. Okay, so that's easy.
Yeah.
But we also have contracts that is linked to prime.
Mm-hmm.
Because they determine prime on a quarterly basis.
Yes.
A lot of the times it doesn't change. It did change now last time, but there can be an instance where it only changes once a year.
Okay.
How do you link a contract to prime?
No, how to say, you have to change this interest rate manually now, because these links, as I explained, it's very different in each situation. If you have changed it, you have a special formula, special links. You have to change it. For example, you can change it in all contracts directly in the card, and system will change this for the all unposted schedule lines. For example, you want to change to 18, and system will ask you.
The only way to do it is to manually do that. But if I have 1,000 contracts, I can't go change the interest rate on 1,000 contracts.
Of course you cannot, and therefore we have to think about some, like, let's say, like a process, like a billing process, which can be created for you. It would be like a filter. You filter your contracts, provide new interest rate, and run it. So, and system makes you a final, let's say, overview of all changed contracts. It can be automated, of course, but no, this system is for everyone in each country now, and yeah, we cannot implement all 1,000 different possibilities out of the box. So this will be like a custom
So you don't
solution for you.
You don't have a master table that says what prime rate is, or LIBOR or whatever. And then in your contract field, when you design the contract, say link it to prime or LIBOR or something like that. Plus,
no, this is not part now of the solution. Yeah.
So then the other question is, so we have to issue a quote or a order, if you want to call it,
Yes.
and that quote needs to be accepted. How do you issue that? for someone to sign either electronically. I'm fine if it's electronically, but to create the quote and then say, okay, here's the document, sign it, and then receive that back, and then create a contract that's also then signed.
A quote, you mean this payment schedule project, yeah?
It's similar to the payment schedule, but the quote defines more. It informs the person what the total loan amount would be, what the payment, the initial payment be, what other fees do you charge them, and what's their rights and obligations, basically. So there's a Word document that we currently use.
Mm-hmm.
Populate certain fields in the
No, I would propose, yeah, to implement this as a special report for you with a special button here. Create a quote, and there are statuses. Yeah, for example, in your case, if it is in a status of quote, you change the status pending approval. Or okay, we can implement some special status for you if you want. And in this case, or even if it is in a web application table, not a contract yet, you issue a special printout like an invoice. We can design a special printout for this, where you put in.
So these type of designs, is there a fee associated with that?
No button, I would say. You, let's say, finalize all your conditions, and you are waiting for the final approval from your customer. And there, I think it might be a button here, print a quote, something like this, which is a part of the process, and it will contain also the payment schedule inside and all other fields you want. Because now, of course, you can send the payment schedule to the Word or to the Excel. Yeah, but of course, it's not a quote with a header named quote and then something like this. Yes, so you have to incorporate now. This solution requires that you incorporate the data in your existing layout. Yeah, there is no finalized report which is named quote.
But it's not hard to create it.
No, yeah, of course, it's like an invoice or something like this.
My question was, doing customization like that,
yes,
is there additional fees for that?
For quote, no. For quote, I don't see any need for special fields. There will be a button. We can agree a special.
The charge. Are you going to charge me for creating that?
No, it depends. It depends if you can create reports. Data sets, I don't think that you would be possible to. I would split it up in two parts. One would be the button and data set defined from our side. No, like how does it look reports in the system? Your reports, you can define layouts. A report layout. Let's say custom layout. One moment. Yeah, there are many reports. Actually, there are some 1,000 reports in the system already. But of course, for accounting and customer, we don't need, we don't use all of them. But for this special scenario, we would like to create a special, let's say, like data set. We call it report name. It will be data set. It's a set of fields. It's like a query to the database. It's all the joined tables and all this, because you don't know the table structure so well and so on. You cannot create this data set. So here will appear a line for you, let's say quote, with a report ID. And your task would be change the layout. Yeah, if you want to do it in Word, then it will be easier. It's also possible to do it in a report design, SQL report builder, special tool, which is part of SQL database, but I think it's free of use. And yeah, it's for more sophisticated changes.
Let's make it a bit easier. When we talk about the integration implementation part, we usually do at least some small analysis, and then we agree with the client what is actually needed to make implementation. Sometimes some data migrations, report creations, invoice designs, and what is the minimum amount, and what is like optional or wish list. And then we come to some conclusion how much might cost those all those customizations, what are free of charge, what are included, and what will be additional. As
Okay.
it's very hard to tell exactly that this report will be chargeable and this will be not. So it also depends what is agreement, how many users you are kind of going to take or use and or pay for. There are some free of charge hours included for learning, teaching, or customizations. You can use as you want them, and etc. So it's very hard to answer this question, particularly whether the exact report will be chargeable.
Okay, right. Another question. So you mentioned that this is not really an accounting application.
This is
So,
also accounting. This what we are showing is not accounting itself, but accounting is included.
okay, so where's because so the company actually has two components. One, the first component is the lending side, and
Mm-hmm.
then the second component is leasing or renting out of properties.
Okay.
So that and so that means that there's going to be payment that will be run. There's normal transactions that we need to record as well.
Yes, it's not a problem. It's actually basic functionality of Dynamics 365. It's a full ERP system with the finance management as a core.
It's by default included.
It's only here in this SkyBill, when you download the SkyBill and get the access, you can get access to this demo version out of the box. We do not make any configurations for full accounting. Yeah? Each country has a very local gap or special rules and taxing and so on. So there are some chart of some accounts already created with 4 digits and some basic groups, which might correspond to your practice or might not. Yeah, and you can check it, and there is everything included. But you have to implement it, and this is, as Maris told, part of our analysis. How other parts.
Yeah, we need to understand what exactly is needed and how it is supposed to work.
Okay, all right.
Of course, we have some experience. We have some companies in South Africa as well. We are serving, etc. But each company, even in one country, has a bit different requirements for workflow, for cash flow, for how they want to post some data or records or whatever, or invoices.
Okay.
No, yeah, of course, you have full functionality to create any customer-related activities, like sales invoices for everything. Okay, but another question is this billing. Of course, this is another module, and it would be like another presentation, I would say. Yeah, Mars.
We can arrange it. It's not a big deal actually. If you want to see billing as for also for property billing. But can you explain what kind of billing you are kind of doing? It's kind of just for apartment rent, or it's also including some electricity, gas, and so on.
No. It's just the apartment rent. So we own apartments, and then we rent them, and for that we receive money, and we then.
Okay, then it's quite straightforward. Actually, it's.
No, it is. It's pretty straightforward. But it's like I say, it's more just a question of okay. Yes, we've got the loan side of things, and looks like a sort of a workflow for that. Well, there's some legal requirements that we have here that we need to meet from the loan side, and then it populates it into a statement. I mean, first the invoice, because the invoice needs to go out, which is it's a good thing so that it can be paid. But then the second thing is we need to issue a loan statement, showing the balance. So can we do that? And then with all of this, everything should be scheduled so that it runs automatically. That we don't. I mean, currently we use Excel. Statements is an absolute waste of time. And it's manual work that needs to be done. Where I think that it should be scheduled so that we know on the 1st of each month it goes out. That's it. Whatever's there needs to go out.
Yeah, it looks.
For sure, it can be automated.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is not a problem. Also, straight billing, it's even not a bill, not so much billing, but it's the same as invoicing or regular invoices for.
Yes, in this case, it looks like maybe this bigger billing module is not needed in this case.
No, it's not needed. Still billing not needed there. It still be too complicated rate setup and it's verification part and.
Yeah, and there are two options. There is a very simple option you can use, like blanket sales orders they call it. It's like a very simple order, or in this case contract for filling for billing. But of course you can create also more sophisticated this service contract module, which will have like items you are invoicing. In your case, it will be like property, customers, and you create contracts, and system has this invoicing tools. Yeah, but it's empty now in this configuration we have here. It's only configured for SkyLoan needs, but there are some options, of course.
Okay. I think you have any
only part what can be used actually from our billing solution is the customer portals. If you're interested in that, then where customers can see their bills and the previous and pay them online or see history of the bills. Write some messages to the back office or to the vendor or to service provider or whatever.
Okay.
This is what we have. Let me see. Maybe I can even show some screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Let me take a screen.
Oh, I have to quit, yeah?
Maybe not.
I remember, if you are manager of the meeting. Okay.
You see my screen now?
Yes, I see. Mm-hmm.
So this is one web application which is for registration for services. This is exactly for UK, but whatever. So you can let your clients apply for your services or whatever, or rent apartment via web. So they will this web page will create a client card in back office. Another next slide is a client portal, what we are offering for utility billing clients more, but it actually can be attached to any other services as well. So the clients can see the bills, like last invoices, messages what they have sent or received from service provider. In this case, it's more, of course, set up for billing. So there submit readings and reading history and this kind of stuff, but it can be taken out or hide it. It's it's not big deal. Of course, there are some statistics regarding last payments and something like that. And if you have agreement with a bank or some payment gateway, then you can also add, or we can add button to pay those bills online, so they can anytime log in the portal, see the current status, result, what they have to pay, and then do the payment immediately. So this is, yeah, there are different designs of those customer portals. Sometimes clients don't use our design; they use themselves, create design themselves, and use only some web services or APIs, so we can just send them data directly from back office. And those client portals are connected directly to the back office data that sees exactly the same data as is in back office. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Henning, do you have any questions?
No questions from my side.
From the new group. All right, Boris and Roland, thanks very much.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
So, but we'll discuss it and then we'll get back to you.
Yeah, of course, take your time.
Yeah. Yeah, and if any question, yeah, feel free to ask, and yeah, we will be happy to answer. Yeah, thank you very much.